Hello, and welcome to Intro to Dungeons of the Endless, or Dungeon of the Endless. The Endless being sort of an ancient race sort of deal, I guess you could say. Anyways, so this is sort of an interesting game. First of all, before I get anyone's hopes up, this is sort of a mini-series. It's not gonna be here for very long, at least until I figure out how I can do more videos in a day or something like that, because we just need to fill a couple days in between Rogue Legacy and Abyss Odyssey, and I was like, well, let's do this, and it's kind of like an extended let's look at. But we're gonna do an intro video and do everything like a series, because eventually I'd like to do it as a series. Plus, it's also in early access right now on Steam and kind of in beta mode. And so there's still more content to be released for it, and I'm also pretty bad at this game. I'll be totally honest. It's difficult because it's different. It's very, very different, and there's things I'm not used to doing, and there's things I'm kind of like, oh god, I want to not like it, but I also realize that I'm just not doing it right, that kind of a deal. Seems to be a theme lately in a lot of games. I need to work on that, or maybe go back to some games I actually feel pretty confident in, but either way. So this game is kind of take 2 parts FTL, 1 part basic dungeon crawler, 1 part tower defense. It's very, very interesting in how it's actually set up. So it's best if I just go ahead and explain by example. So we'll see how this actually works. So let's go ahead and do new game. You can pick a ship, but you have to unlock them first, and in order to unlock them, you have to actually, like, beat the game for the most part. Yeah, win a game with the infirmary pod, win a game with the armory, win a game with the escape pod, and spend like 1,000 food healing your heroes, and all of this other stuff. I have yet to beat the game. I've been playing it for a few hours, and I also recorded a bunch of episodes before this, and then I messed it up in some really embarrassing ways, and I was like, well, not like gameplay messed it up, but actually messed up the procedural like recording and everything else like that, and it was just very strange. Anyways, so you get to pick a ship. They confer benefits, I imagine, in the future, but this one does not, and they don't tell you what they do in the future. And then you can pick heroes. So we have Maxo Kane, which has got okay life speed, damage, and hit. We got Opbot, and he's got really good wit and not so great damage, though. So, but he's got a little bit more life than the other two, and that's pretty good. And then we have Sarah Numis, who looks just disturbingly a lot like Samus Aran to me. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a direct reference or what. Then underneath the actual stat bar, you can see how many floors I survive with each hero, and how many times I've killed them off by accident or otherwise, and how many times I've won, which is 0. Now we've also got this guy, so it's got kind of an interesting unlock system. There's all these different characters, and you can find them randomly in the dungeon, but in order to actually play with them from the start, as you can see at the very bottom, it says status discovered. And yeah, he's been discovered, but still locked. To unlock this hero, you have to reach the final exit or survive 3 floors in a row during your next encounter while playing with him. So we have to not only get them, but keep them for 3 floors. And that can be kind of a tricky proposition sometimes, and you'll see why. There's definitely elements to this game that I don't understand yet. Like, there's certain parts of the meta and everything else. We're going to pick Sarah, because she's a really good front person. Opbot is a really good defense person, and that's a good way to kind of start stuff out. And so yeah, there's a lot of things I don't quite understand, especially like the meta, how I'm supposed to be going about playing the games, and I'm still very much in a kind of experimental stage with it, which is another reason why the series isn't going to go on too long, because I want to wait until I can actually like beat this game, or maybe not even just beat it, but just actually be able to play it with some proficiency. And it's kind of upsetting to me that I'm as bad at it as I am, and a lot of it is, oh yeah, we're in the oh shit ship. So here we go. It's going to crash in a massive explosion. And of course, we're going to be the only 2 survivors left. So yeah, I want to make sure I'm actually somewhat decent at this game. Not even pretty decent, just somewhat decent. Like, I need to find out more about how this game works and what it is I'm doing wrong, and do a little bit of research. But regardless, I really wanted to show it off, and I needed something to fill time, and yeah. So there we go. We opened our first door. So here's our crystal. This crystal powers everything, and that's powered by our dust count up here. Your stock of dust. Dust is used to improve the capacity of your crystal and buy merchant items. So this is the capacity gauge. For every 10, you can power up a new room. You do that by middle clicking. So there we go. Room powered up. And then we have other resources up here. There's an options. That's the game menu, which is kind of annoyingly close to the inventory, which we have nothing. And then we have industry, science, and food. Now, industry is kind of what we use to build with, so we want to get more of that so we can build more things. So, there we go. We do that. More industry is going to generate per turn. It goes up by 3 from a base 5. And, yeah, no, that's real good stuff. So, that's kind of the thing we want to do. We can check the different abilities of our crew members here. He can repair units. I'm hoping, I'm not entirely sure. This is where I kind of am mechanically, is it's like, he's got this passive where he can repair, but I don't know if he always needs to be in the room or if he could do it in between turns. So, turns work by opening doors. You get a new turn, or the turns move forward every time you open a door, and whenever you do that, you move forward, you find out what's in a room. Most of the time you get a little bit of, a rapier. You get a little bit of dust for discovering most of the rooms, but not always. It's not like a guaranteed drop or anything, but we got a weapon. Let's see, is that can I equip that? I can. Ooh, and it's got good speed, good DPS, good attack power, good everything. Cool deal. That's the best weapon I've gotten in the game so far for Sarah. So, yeah, we can, there we go. That's how you progress through the level. Oh, let's leave that powered on. If the room's powered on, nothing happens. You have a powered on room. Good stuff, right? If it's powered off, it has a chance to spawn enemies in it every turn. So every time you open one of these doors, you could spawn a bunch of enemies, kind of like what we saw when we opened the first room. So we'll do that to prevent any tangential enemies. That seems like that rock is destroyable or something. I don't know. There's probably interactions I'm not aware of in this game either, but so far it seems like they're really obvious set pieces that are not hard to tell apart from other things that happen in the game. So, okay, cool. So we got 1 dust. That's not enough to power up this room. So we'll leave him. We'll leave Opbot back here to kind of pull defense in case something spawns in this room, and then we'll have Sarah be our front discovery type person. There we go. This works out all right. She kind of prioritized the little crystal guys there because what those guys do is they'll just beeline straight for your base here, and that's no good. Alright, cool. I want to get a little bit more industry. And then also food once we can actually make it. So that'll be really good. And then we can also set up some defenses in case they get behind us. So, like, we can do that guy. And it's just a weak little laser that we can use to fight stuff. It's such a novel game. Like, I'm a sucker for novelty. Like, anytime somebody introduces a really interesting or different concept in a game, yeah, I just totally eat it up. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. I just think it's really good. And I like to encourage that as much as possible. Come up with new interesting systems for games that do interesting things. Okay, there's our exit. So what we want to do is take this to that room. However, there's a lot of resources to be had and some more things we can be doing in here, so we're gonna do that first instead. Alright, cool. We're leaving Opbot back there to run defense for us. And there we go. We got some more treasures. No spawns? Okay, good. Got another rapier. That's fine. I'm not gonna argue against that. Okay. Now, killing monsters, it's good sometimes because they have a chance to drop dust. And getting extra dust is always nice. However, fighting off a lot of monsters can be a little troublesome sometimes. Alright, now, food. Food is another thing we want to generate a lot of, because whenever you're down on health like this is really, really bad. So you want to heal. Healing costs 3 food, as you can kind of see right there. So we can heal both of our guys up a little bit and have them continue on the fight. You can also pause with spacebar, which is why I say it's kind of FTL-ish, aside from the fact that you're kind of wandering around like in an FTL ship. Oh my god, this battle is ridiculous. Okay, we got rid of the big damaging guy, and we're going to have Sarah try to chase down this guy really quick. So hopefully we don't have to worry too much about anything else. Okay, no, our laser there shot him down, so that's good. Okay, and we'll do that to eliminate one more possible spawn point. That would be bad. Okay, now we want food generator. Let's do food generator. And I like to, on the first floor, I'm not usually too concerned about setting up a lot of defenses and stuff, because you carry the 3 primary resources here, you'll carry over to the next level. Dust, not so much. It seems like dust is always starts at a 24 count, and that's fine, but, you know, maybe a little inconvenient. Let's see, do we have any more doors over here? We do not have any more doors over here, so we'll go back over here. We've got 2 doors to explore. So, okay, let's go ahead and go in here, see what happens. Okay, we got 1 enemy, and he's a kind of a badass, so we'll move over here. We'll pull her back, and then have Opbot fight him with some laser backup. There we go. So sometimes you can get dust. Again, dust is... Okay, wait, no, we're not ready for that. What am I doing? Okay, good. That was a merchant, which means we're not going to spawn a lot of monsters, but I did not check and see that we have other things back there. Again, like, for whatever reason, my ability to pay attention in this game is not great. So I take full responsibility for the fact that I'm bad at this game. Don't get me wrong for a second. But it is hard. It makes interesting demands of you that are not normal in other games. There he goes. He repaired everything. Okay, cool. We have a merchant. Merchants are super great. I really like them. We have a nail gun, a footsie, a rapier, a footsie, and a pea shooter. We don't... no, we use spears on this guy, and we have no armor here. So what we're going to do is sell off this extra rapier. And, yeah, we'll continue exploring, I think. A little scary. I kind of botched that a little bit, so let's go ahead and we'll power on that room since it's our exit. And we might, well, let's see what we can get away with without building guns so we can carry that industry with us to the next level. Okay, well, we found a bunch of industry. That's really good. So this little guy will warn us if there's any monsters. So if it's still blinking red, then it means that there's monsters somewhere in the dungeon and we'll need to watch out for them. And right now it's blinking red because it's sort of an uncertainty. It will always blink red whenever you enter a new room because of, like, you know, it's basically saying, like, okay, be careful, be on the lookout. However, you know, it won't always stay red like that. Let's go ahead and heal you up. It's taking a really long time for him to make it into this room. Okay, here we go. So they're going to fight these guys, and we have plenty of laser backup, so it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. Okay, never mind, I take that back. Alright, yeah, we had a sudden influx of guys come into the room here, so we need to make sure we're absolutely healed up. Cool. Alright, we got a lot of dust. Hopefully this laser should be able to kill that one. Yeah? Alright, the little crystal guys immediately beeline for your main power crystal, and they can really mess up your day if you're not careful. They don't do a lot of damage, but they'll nickel and dime it away, and then ultimately, because the dust is also the health of your crystal down there. So if they take away your dust, you'll start losing powered rooms. Stuff gets really bad. Sad times for everyone involved. No goodness. Okay. So let's continue our explorations over here. We should be getting pretty close to the end of this floor, or at least the end of exploring this floor specifically. Okay, cool. We found some food. That's really good. We've been using a lot of food for healing, and we need that for leveling up as well. So, oh my goodness. Okay, we are getting attacked over here. Be nice if I paid attention once again. Do we have any other guys? And it doesn't really indicate to you where enemies are. Like, even if you're aware of them, it doesn't point to, like, oh, there's conflict happening here, you should go check it out. And that's something I have a little bit of a problem with, because it doesn't... It makes your awareness of what's going on in the game pretty much as difficult as possible. Like, that's the challenging part of the game, is just situational awareness at all times. And sometimes that can be a little tricky. So, okay, so did I actually level up Sarah? No, I did not. Okay, so you need food to level up. Food is, and you need quite a bit of it. So if you're healing all the time, you're not going to be able to level up. And if you're not leveling up, you're going to have to heal even more all the time. So obviously that creates a bit of a conflict as far as that goes, as you can see. So it's very much, there's a lot of resource balancing to be done. Okay, this is a self-powered room. That's really good. Let's go ahead and... You have to also kind of think tactically about how the rooms are going to lay out, and I'll explain exactly what I'm talking about there in a minute. Let's make sure, yeah, we have opened the last door of this current floor of the dungeon. Cool, and this is another self-powered room, and we got waves incoming. Alright, ooh, we got couple fast dudes, a couple slower dudes, that's good. We want them to kind of come a little more staggered than immediately, as that makes them easier to handle for sure. So, here we go. And we're doing good on health. These guys don't really do that much damage. I mean, of course, we want to make sure we don't die to it because of hubris. That's also very important. But for the most part, they're pretty easy to manage. Okay, cool. So, now that we've explored the entire dungeon, what we need to do is get this to the exit. We've got a lot of resources built up, so that's really good. We accomplished what we wanted, what we set out to do there. So we kind of look at the path here, and we go, okay, that's powered on. Enemies aren't going to spawn from there. Now, as we walk through these rooms, they're going to depower once we leave them. So we're going to follow this little power line here, but once we cross past it, these rooms aren't going to have power anymore. So they get depowered and they'll start spawning monsters. Of course, it doesn't really help the fact that, you know, once it's depowered, anything you put in there module-wise, like the little laser guns or laser turrets or whatever, are not going to be effective anymore. Self-powered rooms are great because you don't have to worry about that. They'll always work and they won't spawn anything either. And now... the big concern is going to be from this side. So if we do that, we won't have to face any monsters heading towards us in that direction. We will have to worry about them coming from this direction. So it's kind of a prioritization issue, right? I think if we depower that room, we'll be able to manage whatever comes out of there, and then we'll set up a few prisoner prods here to kind of limit the number of enemies that are going to come at us from this wing. And then we should be fine. In theory. Once again, I'm not entirely mechanically proficient at what happens in this game. So let's go ahead and try this out. Okay. So, of course, Sarah is going to be our bodyguard, and Opbot is going to be the escorter for this diamond, or the guy who's going to actually carry it. So let's have him carry it, and she's going to follow and run point. Alright, we just want you to go straight here. Make it real easy, and then we'll follow along. Oh boy! That's a pretty scary monster to have right there. Alright, how are we doing on health? Health is fine. As you can see, the rooms are already starting to deactivate one by one. We're going to heal up a little bit, run this way. So, fortunately, our major threats are going to come from over here, and they're going to get blown up in that one room. So, we're pretty much home free in this particular instance. So, but it does get, if there were more branching paths and we didn't have nearly as much dust to take care of it, could have been a big issue. So, there we go. We return the crystal. And we're good. Cool. Monsters killed. Door 16. Go to next floor. So that's basics. That's basically the basics there. And I noticed that Sarah was fighting something. If you can die while waiting for the crystal to get delivered to the exit, I'm going to be really upset. So yeah, but that's more or less Endless, or Dungeon of the Endless. Excuse me. In a nutshell. So once again, this is going to be a mini-series, so I'll be doing a couple episodes until the 15th, which is whenever Abyssal Odyssey comes out, and then we're going to switch over to that in this particular time slot. But if, we end up going a little bit over and there's some bonus episodes, I have 4 episodes for a few days. I don't think that's going to offend anybody, so that might happen too. We'll see. Before I had recorded, 3 or 4 episodes, and it overlapped in just the right way that it was like, well, if I cut this out now, then we only have like a 5-minute episode, so I'll start another one, see how far we go, and that kind of a deal. So I'm willing to be a little flexible with how we end up doing this. So, but yeah, this is Dungeons of the Endless. This has been Cardboard Decoy providing an intro to Dungeons of the Endless, and join me tomorrow where there'll be new episodes, and that will be really good stuff. So until then, have fun.